We're going to do one more session on landscapes this week, and this is the image we're going to work with. Several weeks ago, I saw this beautiful line drawing of a figure at Palette and Chisel. This is an artist, a palette and chisel artist, and it's done in colored pencil. And as you can see, the artist, it's done mostly in line, but there's a great sense of volume and form in the way this artist has worked. And what she has done is used a different color of line work as she goes along to indicate either shadow or strength of a muscle. She uses these darker, cooler shades of colored pencil, and then she switches to a lighter one where the head here, for instance, is in the background sort of, and she uses a light touch there. And then with just a little bit of tone here and there to give emphasis to the form in areas where she wanted to. Anyway, it's a lovely way to work. And line, simple line, and when I say simple I mean not complicated, I don't mean easy, is a beautiful way to work and does not mean that form and contour and planes cannot be indicated. And again, it looks, I say simple, it is not that easy to do because one must still know the subject they're working on and understand the form. For instance, in this lovely line, mostly line drawing, you can see where the artist has gone very heavy in the area that would be shadow. And if we look at a figure, a traditional or a figure using tone, the side of the face there where there's shadow is done with putting down pencil shading or tone. The same effect is achieved here just with line by varying the width and the darkness of the line. Then it shows the areas that need to be dark and then the areas that are not in shadow. For instance, this part of the nose is not in shadow, so the line is thin and much lighter. And that would be comparable to this side of the nose on this drawing. There's very little marking because that part of the nose is in the light. So working just with line is a wonderful skill and tool to have. And it can be as simple as in this oriental fish drawing. This was probably done with a brush, but it could be done with pencil or pen and ink. And again, you can see where there would be shadow or weight on the subject, the line is thick. Where the light is hitting the subject, the line is very thin and even broken up. And such a line drawing can be either very simple, again meaning not easy, but not complicated, or as complicated as one would want, as this little scene, which is a copy from a Japanese print. And again, you can see in order to render the figure, the artist has used thick and thin lines to indicate that kind of form and contour to the figures and to the tree. So we're going to apply that principle to this landscape. And again, I would suggest, as I did last time, perhaps doing a little thumbnail sketch just to, now I'll go a little bigger than a thumbnail sketch is about this big. I'll go a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. But I would, this is the way I would work. Of course, everyone has a different way of working, but I would do a simple pencil sketch just so that when I get to the color pencil part, I can be a little more free and focused in where I want to go. So I would just lay down the big shapes, getting the horizon there, which is not quite half, and the cactus, which I'm placing about here. And then these wonderful, this is a squirrel, and I'm drawing with the camera in between me, so it's a little hard for me to control my hand here. Anyway, I would do a little sketch like this. For one thing, I just realized I did a horizontal landscape shape, and it's really a vertical. So that's one reason why we do little thumbnails. We realize sometimes right away the errors that we make. Anyway, I would redo this, do a portrait shape. That's what we call a vertical piece of drawing, and redo this to get the shapes in. But anyway, I would place where the sun is going to be. I wouldn't need to do much more because the sky I'm going to do in colored pencil. I would also look at this and remember that what is in the distance is smaller and less distinct. What is in the foreground is larger and has more detail. And that's what makes these scrub, whatever they are, probably some form of cactus, appear as though they're in the foreground, and these other ones appear as though they're in the background. So when I move to the colored pencil, and I'll do the correct shape this time, I would start again by placing my horizon. I'll just do some little corners here to kind of get the basic shape as a guide. So there's my horizon line, and it's got some green there where the vegetation of the desert is. And then I want to place my cactus here, and I will just vary the color of my line as I go up. And where this branch, I guess you call it a branch, in this saguaro cactus, is where it joins there, there's a shadow area. So I'm just going to use the purple for that part and then continue on up with the green. And right there where there's a joint, where it joins into the main branch. And then on the other side, on this side, looks like there's some reflected light from that wonderful sunset. So I'm going to use some warmer colors. And again, I have a, let's see, a little further up here, I have another little branch thing that comes out. And that looks like it's picking up a little bit of warmth. And then for the sun area, I'm going to leave the part where the sun actually is, the ball of the sun, white, because that will make it look the brightest. But I'm going to make some arc lines here, again changing the color of the line as I go along. Oops, pressed a little too hard there. So much for that. Always good to have a few extra colors. And so forth. Resisting the temptation to color it in or fill it in. And I would continue with that, changing the color of the line as I go along until I have most of the shapes in. And then on this one, I went a little further and I went back in and I did just put a few markings to indicate solidity there. And I went back over some of my first drawn lines with other colored lines, just to give weight to this is where the cactus is sitting, so I wanted to give weight to that and weight to the bushes in front, getting smaller and smaller with my markings as I go back to give it a sense of distance. And that would be one approach to doing a line treatment of a landscape.